let's talk about how to engrave acrylic using your Cricut.
Hey there, I'm Sarah. You are watching Creative Ramblings, where I share all kinds of Cricut projects and tips for you to get the most out of your machine. If that sounds like something you're interested in, consider hitting that subscribe button. I am here with brand new videos every week. Today we are talking about how to engrave acrylic with your Cricut. We're going to talk about what machine you can use, what tool you need, and all kinds of Design Space tips to help you get the most out of your project. Let's jump in and let's engrave some acrylic.
The first thing you need is a Cricut machine. We can use either the Maker 3, like this one here, or the original Maker. So in the machine, in Clamp B, we're going to remove the fine point blade. That's the blade that comes with this. And we're going to use the engraving tip. Now the engraving tip is part of the Quick Swap series of tools, which means it comes with this drive housing on top. You push the button and you can just pull the tip right off, and you can quickly swap it out for another tip. There are a number of different tips that come with this housing that you can purchase and swap out. You can see the whole list here. So if you do get one housing, you can just buy the tip going forward from there. So this has a gear on the top. We're going to line this gear up with the one on the machine in Clamp B. The other thing you need to do is move these star wheels over. When we engrave acrylic, it's a little bit thicker, and we want to make sure it's going to fit all the way under that silver bar without anything getting in the way. So now the machine's ready, let's talk about what other supplies you need. You're going to want a purple strong grip mat. Anytime you're using a thick material, you want something that it can grip to. Just to be safe, we are also going to use some painter's tape. The acrylic that I'm engraving is a bookmark. These are clear, they just have a masking on the front and back to protect them. These are about 1 millimeter thick and they engrave beautifully. I got a whole pack of these on Amazon. There's a link down in the description if you want to pick up a pack for yourself. All right, the first thing we want to do is prep our mat. So on this bookmark, I am going to pull off just the top masking. So I'm going to leave the other side on and just keep that out. And I'm going to put this on the mat. Use this side. I'm going to put this on the mat. And I'm going to use the grid lines to help line it up. So this is where it's going to be. Now this is really important because I want to mimic this on my canvas in Design Space. I also want to hold it down with painter's tape. I want to make sure the engraving doesn't go over the painter's tape. So now with my machine and my mat ready, we can go to Design Space and set this up. So in Cricut Design Space, you can see I have already created an engraved bookmark over here as an example. So let me show you how I made this. The first thing we're going to do is create a shape that is the same size as the engravable area of the bookmark we just put on the mat. So it's about 1.5 by 4.5 inches. I'm going to make this white just so I can see everything a little bit better. Now I want to search for some images to engrave on here. When you are searching for images, I really recommend looking for something that is draw only. This is going to give you a single line engraving. Let me show you the difference. I'm also going to pull up a flower that is cut only. Now we're going to set both of these to engrave. You can do that under the Operation drop-down menu. You can see that the draw only just has single lines, and the cut only is going to give you an inside line and an outside line. If you want that, great. For this design, that's not something I want. I really like how this single line looks. So now I have some flowers. I'm going to size those down, put them in place. Now I want to add some text. So to add text, you want to filter your fonts by writing fonts. This is also going to give you single line writing. And you can do that over here on the right. You can just choose writing. There's tons of options. All right, so let's line everything up. Then we're going to select, in this case, the text and the flower, and we're going to attach those two pieces. Now, before I move forward, I am going to get rid of this example piece over here. I'm not going to delete it. I'm just going to hide it because we don't want to work with that when we're cutting. All right, so now I'm going to click on these two pieces one more time. I want to make sure that up in operation, they are both set to engrave. Now I can click Make It. We're going to cut on a mat because our mat is already prepared. Now you can see you have two mats that show up on the side here. In mat number 2, I'm going to click on those 3 dots and click Move Object. This is going to send that rectangle over to the first mat. Now remember when we placed that bookmark on the mat and we were really careful about where we placed it? That's what we're going to use here for reference. So I want this rectangle to go exactly where the bookmark is on my mat. Then I can line up the engraving and really make sure everything is exactly where I want it. When I'm happy with the placement, I can click on the rectangle, choose those 3 dots, and hide this because we don't need to cut this out. And then click Continue. When choosing materials, Cricut is going to give you 2 options for acrylic. You're going to have a 1mm and a 2mm option. These bookmarks are pretty thin, they're 1mm, so we're going to choose that one. All right, we're set to go. We've already got the engraving tip in clamp B. Let's load in the mat and let it engrave. All right, the engraving is all done. Now, when you engrave, you can get some little fragments left over from the acrylic, kind of like a dust. So we want to remove that before taking this off the mat. The easiest way to do that is to reuse one of these pieces of painter's tape and just run it over the engraving to pull all those pieces off. Now I can just pull it off the mat. I had left the back masking on when I engraved just to protect the back. So now I can pull that off and you can see this is a beautiful clear bookmark. Now because it's clear, it can be a little bit harder to see, but the engraving is just beautiful and nice and subtle on here. So that is everything you need to know about engraving acrylic with your Cricut. We need to use a maker, you need to use the engraving tip, and we got some great tips for using Design Space for a project like this. You can pick up these bookmarks down in the description. There's a link down there, and you can find a list of all the supplies we used in this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I am here every week with new videos. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.